All right, so hey everybody, Adrian Nelson here, and for all of you that are following me, you've been hearing about this amazing best friend of me since probably forever. And I have finally, or let's rather say we finally have been able to work our schedules out so we can actually have a chat together. So this is Alandra Coleman, my amazing best friend, my
Hello.
social media manager mogul, graphic design mogul, all those amazing things. And over to you.
Wow, that's an incredible introduction. Thank you. I think it's more really just about sharing my skills that I've acquired over the years with others. Um, I'm by no means social media influencer, but I make people social media influencers. So that is what I try to do for other people. Um, yes, and Aiden and I have been friends for so many years. Um, so I think, there's there's a lot of people questioning social media. And this is why we wanted to speak about social media. It's become so intimidating because it's so flooded with marketing. But Aiden, okay, I just wrote down the latest stats so that I can share it with you. So there's 4.62 billion people on social media, and that is really almost half of the planet's population when you really think about it. It's 58.4% of the population. And then the average time that a person spends on social media is about 2 hours, 27 minutes. In this year alone, 442 million people have joined social media. Now, that is the power of social media, and that is the power of your messaging to other people. Now, having been in the industry for so many years, I can thoroughly identify with how overwhelming it is. It is time consuming, um, but when you really think about it, it's the cheapest and probably the most effective way to get your messaging out. And notice I'm speaking about messaging here, not selling. Now, there is a difference, and we'll tie it in. Um, but I think, so you'll ask yourself, so really, why do I need to be on social media? It's so gimmicky. There's just a whole lot of nonsense on it. But if you think about the amount of time that you spend on social media, and you think of that in relation to other people. Okay, let's go back to this. Let's talk about someone that a lot of people, perhaps in the spiritual community, know and can probably identify with. Dolores Cannon. Okay. Now, if Dolores Cannon didn't write the books, go on tours, worldwide tours, promoting the books, if she didn't decide to take the information that she, you know, had come about in all her years working with people with QHHT and hypnosis, we wouldn't know about it. So think of social media like that. It's a way to get your messaging across. So many foundations would not exist in a physical capacity if it hadn't started by reaching people out there online.
Yeah, yeah. And
And that's what it's all about.
and you know what is so incredible, what we also even don't realize, and I'm literally thinking about this while you're speaking about this now, had Dolores Cannon not go online, had you not found out about it and told me about it, because remember initially I said this is a lot of rubbish. And so had you not found out about it and you got excited about it and you showed me the videos, because I'm one of those people that I need to be shown, I need to see, and I need to almost like be sold into it, then I probably wouldn't have been a regression hypnosis practitioner today. And that's such a powerful thing. And the other thing that I think that I would like us to go back to a little bit, one of the things, especially in the beginning, that you kept on telling me over and over and over and over and over is to rather break things up in smaller little videos instead of making these 30-minute videos. Because when you take that average of 2 hours and 27 minutes, most people aren't going to look at you for 2 hours and 27 minutes. They're going to look at other stuff. They're going to scroll past you. And it's so easy to get into that whole, I mean, I'm very guilty of it. You get into what I call the blah, blah phase. You give people a lot of information they don't want to know. And I think something that we want to look at is really the difference, maybe a little bit deeper, the difference between an influencer and an expert, because they are two entirely different things. Because I think everybody goes, especially with YouTube, everybody goes for likes and everybody wants subscribers and everybody wants to be monetized. And whilst those are really, really amazing things, maybe there are other areas that you can look at. There's other ways that you can actually utilize the platform that can serve you better, and that if money is what you want to make, you can actually use the platform to make a lot of money and not even have that many subscribers. I mean, I'm literally an
Yeah.
example of that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about it. You know, I listened to a chat this morning and they were talking about spiritual commerce.
Mhm.
Now, when the teacher is ready, the students will come.
Yes.
You know that in that phrase, I'm not sure who said it, but I think if we want to remain truly authentic to ourselves, we have to treat social media as that spiritual experience as well. The same way we do it in our daily lives. Okay? Not everybody wants to be an influencer. And there's a difference between giving people value within that influence and just feeding the mundane.
Mhm.
And I think when you understand that you are coming from, for instance, you can look at any of my social media channels. I do not have a lot of people following me. And there's a reason I don't have a lot of people following me, and that is because I maintain the same spiritual boundaries that I do in life as I do on social media.
Mm.
Because I've been in the industry for so long, I can tell immediately almost who's a spammer, who's a troll, and I block you.
You get the
Okay.
baby on board.
I am there to offer messaging and value and be of service to people who are actually looking for my value and service.
Mhm.
I often do a spring clean.
Mhm.
And this is important. It's not all about numbers. It's never about numbers. Listen, if you are of a conscious level, a certain vibrational frequency, and then you understand, like I was saying earlier, the students will come when the teacher is ready. And that's the key point is ready.
Mhm.
Are you ready to put yourself out there? Are you happy with putting yourself out there? Because if you can't find the joy in what you're doing in social media to reach other people, then you're going to have resistance. And we all know what happens when it comes to resistance.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you're going to resist social media and you're not going to see it as a part of any other spiritual daily practice, it's going to resist you. The
Mhm.
people that you're aligned with won't find you. It's also not all about making money. It's different for conscious people. Um, yes, some aspire to make millions through funneling systems, pro marketing, the entire works, and it works and it works well. But there's no sense in giving somebody a long A4-page story about yourself, thinking that you're offering value and then trying to sell them something.
Mm.
Then you might as well go directly, which you should actually be doing, in between all the valuable content that you give people. If you look, the objective of any business is to make an income, okay? And you're not going to make an income if you don't present the offer. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. If nobody knows what you do, for instance, we know Adrian does tarot. We know that Adrian does hypnosis. How do we know it? Because he clearly and concisely tells us that on his social media channels. Now, he used to and he still does incorporate crystal healing practices. But when you are thinking of a crystal healer, you're not necessarily going to go, oh, I remember that crystal guy. Maybe I can go to him for a crystal healing. This is how the human brain identifies. Your messaging has to be clear, concise, so that people understand what you're about. Now, everyone who's worked with me knows that I talk about target marketing and specific niches. And it kind of frightens those people away because they tell you straight, I want to reach everyone. I want to help everyone. Of course, we want to raise global consciousness. And of course, we want to help everybody that we can. But are your services targeted at children up to the age of 12? Are you targeted at teenagers? Will you be able to help a teenager? Will the people who are living and earning money be in the income bracket that can afford your services? They may have an interest in you and they'll save money and they'll come to you. Are you targeting corporates? Are you targeting people, I don't know, in the construction industry? So when you say you're helping everybody, if you throw a net in the sea, you're going to catch everything, including kelp
It's,
and plankton.
it's true. Let me actually
Okay.
take that back again. Let me take that back again a little bit because I'm going to be honest with you. I feel that you are um, not fully giving people the full package. And this is what I'm talking about. So some of you may know this, some of you may not know this. But way back in 2019, after a whole lot of string of very bad decisions that I made in my life, so late June 20, was it late June or early June? It was late June, right? Late June 2019,
Totally.
came back from Joburg. I had to take a bus. It's a very long drive, by the way. I had to take a bus, couldn't afford a plane ticket, literally got to Cape Town because I came to your house because I had nowhere else to go. I had nothing. I literally had 5 rand in my pocket. That's like $half. I had nothing. Um, and I remember you said to me, since you have nothing, you can just as well make a clear decision about what it is that you actually want to do. Who is it that you actually want to reach? But I can say from very hard personal experience that when you come from the point of desperation, you are slowly digging your own grave. Because I remember this one day I was getting so annoyed because I was having these tarot clients coming to me, and it was what I felt wasn't really people that were very serious about life. They were looking for somebody to give them the little pet talk, and I was complaining my little heart out. And you said to me, "Well, buddy, the reason why this is happening is because you are not clear in your own mind about who you want to reach." And I said, "Well, who do you want to reach?" And I had to really think about that. And I had to realize that I want to work with people that are very serious, to really delve very deeply, and not everybody's ready for that. And I think something very important to get some clarity about within yourself when you start out your own business, be it tarot, be it life coaching, be it whatever, is that just because this person starts with you doesn't mean this person has to end with you. Because not everybody is ready for that serious talk and that big talk and that big step and that bravery to jump. Not everybody's got that, but sometimes people actually need someone to just get them from point A to point B before they can go to point C. And I think we want to be very clear sometimes in our life about what is it that you actually want. Do you want the person to support someone from A to B, or from B to C, or from C to D? And neither is really superior to the other, because all of them are very, very necessary for you in your life. And the one thing that I like so much about the way that you operate, and whenever I tell somebody, when they ask me, well, I mean, obviously people ask me sometimes, well, why should I go with this person? This person's your friend. Maybe that's why you're recommending her. And I will say to you, this is the reason why I would recommend her. Because what she does, she explains you the demographics and all those other things that you need to know. But she also says to you, who do you want to be within your business? Because I think what happens with so many people these days is that they set out with very good intentions. You're very motivated and inspired and all of those type of things, but you sort of lose yourself in it by trying to follow what everybody else does. And I think it's important to say, what is it that I want to do? But you don't want to lose yourself in that. So I think the difference with what you do, it's not just business coaching, it's not just about reaching your goals, but it's also about not losing yourself in the process. Because when you do, and I think I've done that, I've kind of done that once. I've quite successfully lost myself in everything. It's a very difficult sort of hill to climb, sort of like out from again. And so what and the reason why that happened is because I didn't listen to what you told me. Then I was like, whatever. That is why it happened to me. So what I like so much about what you do is that you start off and you say, okay, because you come from a very spiritual, and I think when I say spiritual, people sort of tend to put spirituality in a box in the way that they put like religion and stuff in a box. It is about who are you? What do you actually want to do? Like, who do you want to be in this life? What defines you? What makes you happy? And so before you start off your business and then get all the money, but then end up being, depressed and needing to go on whatever antidepressants, because now you got money and you're upset. What I like about what you do is you start somebody off basically strong. So you want to run a marathon. What do you need to do? Do you need to start exercising? Are you even ready to start exercising yet? Or do you need to start looking at, I don't know, your diet and like you get enough nutrition and hydration and sleep and those things. But if you also find yourself in that dark deep pit, then you are really brilliant. And I speak from personal experience. It's also helping somebody to get out of that pit. And not only helping them to get out of that pit, but helping them to get out of that pit in a way that makes them feel inspired, in a way that makes them feel strong, bringing them back to basics again. Because I know that some coaches can be very, well, this is where you are, this is how you got yourself there. They basically say to you, this is your fault, which I love the way that you take that approach. And if you can maybe speak about that a little bit, that will be really, really great.
Sure, and thank you for all of that, buddy. You see, like everything else in life, it's all about intention. You'll hear everybody talking about branding, personal branding, and I do that as well. But what is branding? You know, you can't develop a brand if you don't know who you are, if you don't know what you're doing, what you want to service, who you want to service, what you stand for. If you don't know your own values, your own ethics, your own culture, you see, it's about intention and coming from an empowered heart. We are not fishermen fishing. Why are you doing what you are doing? Are you doing it to positively raise consciousness, or are you doing it to make money? Because if you're doing it to make money, you are going to align with a certain genre of audience. But if you're doing it from a level of service, you will align to people who are attracted to that level of service
Mm,
at the end of the day.
yeah.
And so if you come to me, you don't know who you are, you don't know what you stand for, you don't have messaging. Let's just, because Adrian does tarot, I'll use tarot as an example. Okay, I'm a tarot reader. Can you help me? I can help you. I can help you from the commercial perspective, where I can set up an entirely funneling system for you, try to automate it all, and make sure that you get maximally in people's faces so that they can buy you over any other tarot reader. But will those people resonate with you at the end of the day? They'll come to you for one session, and what I've sold for you on your behalf or advise you to do may not be what they are looking for.
And I
It's
like
like
that. Mm,
you see, it's like making a call to a mechanic or to a shop or whatever. You get this beautiful voice on the other side of the phone, and hi, how are you today? And the service is lovely. And then you get to the shop with your vehicle, and you have these grumpy aggro people. Um, you know, do you still want the service
mhm,
at the end of the day? So, what is branding? Branding is you. You see, I'm even going to delve into this. And we are talking to a conscious community here,
mm,
a community who is the tarot readers, the light workers, the conscious coaches, the transformational coaches. People are coming from a point of service. We are not here to sell you hacks to life. No, we're here to help you find your inner resonance so that you can grow and develop and evolve
mhm,
as we have.
yeah.
And if we are not in alignment with that ourselves, then we shouldn't or we can't help other people to do that. There's no easy hacks to life. We all know this.
No.
And that's why and we'll even talk about authenticity. You know, I think it was in 2021, I set up interviews to speak to conscious practitioners, excuse me, spirited business throughout the world. That included Canada, New York, Australia, Malaysia. And there was one thing that they had in common. None of them had a problem being seen online. None of them really, they were fine with it. But they didn't know what content to present and how to present it.
Yeah.
Okay. And which said to me, and I don't mean this offensively to anyone, if you've been helping people for a certain number of years, you will know the commonalities amongst the people who come to you.
Mm.
And that's the first place to start. So when people come to me, what issues are they coming with? And how can I help the broader community like them deal with those issues?
Yes.
And that's your content. It's as
Yeah.
easy as that. So when, you know, marketing people will tell you, you need to know people's pains, people's desires. You need to give them a benefit and all of it. I do the same thing, but I teach you how to do it from a heart-centered space
Yes. And
so
not
that
taking
it
advantage of
remains,
it.
yes. We're not here to manipulate people.
Mm.
We are here, for instance, if you deal, it's so easy to find content out there. And we're not saying go copy other people's content because you are not those other people.
Mm.
But you can find inspiration in other content. For instance, tarot. No, I don't want to use tarot. I want to use something different here. Let's say you want to help people with anxiety. Okay. Type in the hash word anxiety and you will see how much content will come up. Now you scroll through their content, you ask yourself, okay, fine. This is what anxiety is all about. This is the type of content I can offer to help people with that.
Mm.
See, it's as simple as that. Content is available all around us. We are creative beings. Musicians find creativity, dancers find creativity in the mundane, the moving of a train. Um, but we feel like we shouldn't put in that daily practice. This is the other thing. If you are operating from a, I'm sorry, I am delving a
Just
bit
say
off
it. Just say it.
what
I'm
Adrian
about
has
it.
said,
Just say
but
it. I'm like that.
should you be operating as a business to earn an income? That doesn't mean you're going to lose your authenticity about it. Your work will speak for itself. Your light will shine for itself. And the students will come. If you're a practitioner, the people will come. If you've been helping for people for so many years and you haven't been doing case studies or you haven't been thinking to yourself, I do past life regression, and most of the time you will think to yourself, oh, people just want to know about their past lives. But that's not it. Why do they want to know about their past lives? Because they are trying to deal with emotional issues, because they're uncertain about what the future holds, because they think there's some magical answer in knowing about a past life that's going to change it in this life.
Mm.
See? So you've got to know your clients better than the surface level. And when you get to know your clients better than the surface level, content is thoroughly abundant. It is thoroughly abundant. You're going to have your highs and your lows. Everybody goes through a journey. But coming back to what Adrian said, it's always about the intention. It's about the intention. It's about coming from a level of value based service at the end of the day.
It's like my
And
saying
yes,
that I always have. The intention behind the action determines the outcome. That's it.
that's it.
That's it.
It's as
You
simple as
know,
that.
that's it.
Really,
Final
it
layer of
is.
the onion.
And when you really think about what does it come back to?
You.
It comes back to the same 0 point. You. I was explaining to somebody the other day, we live in a dualistic society, and this is my point of view. everybody's going to be different. Okay.
Which is
Negative,
okay.
positive, which is fine. We are to expose our truth to other people, to allow other people to think for themselves and make decisions based on what they think and believe. We're not here to intimidate anybody into saying we are right. There's no right and wrong.
Mm.
But we can help you think about, things in the larger scheme of things. So back to dualism. Polarized, unpolarized, positive, negative. Nobody talks about the central points in that. Between the positive and the negative, 2 points, there's a third point. And that third point is you. Between the metaphysical and the spiritual realm, you know, there's you. You are the central point. You are the balance.
That's it.
Don't that people just think, oh, there's more to dualism than that. You chose this earthly experience. You're here as a human.
Let me actually add to that. So the one thing that I think is very important, because if you've been watching this up until now, you might probably be a little bit shaky. you know? But this is what I want to say to you, is that nobody ever really has it fully together. So, I don't want you to feel that if you're looking at this, I don't want you to go to myself, oh, golly gosh, I don't have it together. I'm never going to together. I can't speak to these people. Let me tell you one thing very much for certain. Both myself and Alandra, we very successful in our own personal capacities, but it doesn't mean that we don't have problems. We've got problems, we've got fears, we've got anxieties. Before we
Oh
started
boy,
this,
oh boy.
it took us about 20 minutes to get this going because Zoom didn't want to go. And the reason why it didn't want to go is there was something happening on her side, and I just had a button pushed on my laptop, which just sort of threw the whole thing out. So you never fully have it together. And I think it's very important, and or let me rather back this up a little bit. The reason why I love the way that you work is because there's something very fundamental that you need to understand about life, and is that you need to be ready for success. Because I'm going to put it to you in a very blunt sort of way, success can be a motherfucker. And the reason why it can be that way is, and even with money, if you're not ready for money, there's the idea that once you have money, your life is going to get better. But money, when you're not ready for it, it can be a very destructive sort of thing. And it can separate you from people because now you don't know, do these people like me because I'm online, because I'm like, famous or semi-famous, or, people look up to me, or, I'm influential or whatever. So it becomes very difficult if you don't know who you are. And if you are not okay with who you are, it can become quite a difficult thing because, and that all goes together with branding. Because, for example, something that happened, what is today? Today is October the 6th,
So
2022.
yeah.
So what happened probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, is that somebody left a comment on one of my videos and it said, stop the witchcraft and all those sort of things. And I want you to know that the more successful you become at what you do, it doesn't matter what it is. There are going to be people that's going to want to stomp you down. And it typically has more to do with them than it actually has to do with you. That is why it's so important to really, in branding, that it has to be a representation of who you are. A lot of times people will speak about your personal life and your professional life, and you want to have that sort of like distinction between the two. But if one is so just this and one is just so just that, and the one is not allowed to infiltrate into the other one, it becomes a very big problem. And I think it's also very important to understand that, especially if you work with Alandra, you don't have to follow every single thing that she says. And let me give you an example of that. So when I first started, at some point, Alandra recommended, because I go online, it might be a good idea for you to just wear some basic makeup and stuff like that, which everybody does. But I'm very blessed, first of all, because I've got quite good skin. And same as anybody, if you're going to be online, everybody's skin has got blotches. That's just human. But so I tried this whole makeup thing, and it really, really didn't work for me. So it's not, I think what sometimes happens is when we follow other people, we try to copy them and we try to become them. And then you can get
But you won't know if you
unless you
didn't
try,
try.
unless you try. And now I
Because
know
it
about
helps.
makeup. So if I need to wear it, I can wear it.
Yes. And I've told you how to do various other things.
Yes.
wear plain colored clothing,
Yeah.
um, because you have to find your online presence that
Yes.
you resonate with.
Mm.
So I will find out, I will sit with you, I will not assess your personality, but
Mm.
we will work based with what's at your resonance level.
Yes.
But to push you out of your comfort zone, there are certain things you will need to try.
Yeah.
I have to do those things as well. I do them. You will see that on some of my videos on my own social media, I don't look the best. And I couldn't really care either about looking the best
Yeah.
because it's about me and it's about the message that I'm giving to you.
Yeah.
If it, Aiden and I've always said, if we can help just one person a day, a month, a year, it makes all the difference, not to us, to the entire global consciousness.
Yes. And it's so important because I feel, and I had this myself as well. And the funny thing is, I've sort of now gone into a direction where people ask me for advice, how to do things online, how to whatever do your business. I'm like, I didn't see that one coming. But here's the thing that, we're obviously inspired by other people. And something that I always say to all my students, basically, it doesn't matter what I teach you, it is that you can be inspired by someone else, but you want to be inspired by that person to become the best version of yourself. Um,
Mm.
for example, my favorite singer, or I wouldn't really say singer, I would rather say my favorite artist in the world is Sarah Brightman. Now, I am definitely not going to aspire to be a soprano because it's never going to work for me. But the inspiration comes more from how this person operates, what she does. And that chick does whatever she wants to do. But it comes from a point of knowing who you are. And I think it's, a lot of times we try to be so perfect because we see other people's perfection. And that is what a lot of people are selling to you. Look at me, I'm so perfect, I'm doing so great, I'm always happy, I'm always love and light, I'm always in my what do you call it, in your flow, in your spiritual flow, whatever. Let me tell you something for a fact. As a full-time practitioner who makes my full life from it, you're not always going to be inspired. You're not always going to be happy. You're not always going to feel like doing stuff. But here's the thing, you want to um, we often don't start because we feel that we are not good enough, we're not strong enough, we're not perfect enough. But you find that perfection, you find that niche that is you by really going in certain directions and seeing, is this working for me? Is this not working for me? And so you have to try. And I mean, I think I want to be, and I'm pretty sure that you will agree with me on this, Alandra, because this is something we speak about quite often, is that people have this idea that we're going to set something up and I'm going to make a couple of videos and I'm going to put out a course and it's going to be like that. You have to put in the work. And I can tell you now already, if you're going to work with somebody that's going to say to you, no, it's going to be easy peasy, just pay me this money, I'm going to make it work for you.
No,
It's not going to, you may make
that
money, but you may not
yeah.
put it inside.
I'm sorry to stop you there, but I mean
Right.
there were so many valuable points in that. Let's start with the reason why people come to you and ask you, um, can you help me with my business? Or can you help me, I don't know, do something? The reason why they do that is because it's in your messaging
Yes.
and it's clear in your messaging. And when I said earlier that your light will speak for itself, anything that you do, if you are putting a course together to just make money without the energy that's coming from an empowered central space, an empowered heart, with an objective to a, or an intention, you're going to run yourself in circles. If you're putting a course together because you want to help people, the energy is going to speak for itself. Come on, we all know how manifestation works here. Okay, we know the matrix, we know how manifestation works. And if you are doing, as Aiden said, something from a point of desperation, it's not going to work. But that's not to say that you shouldn't do it,
Or try.
that you shouldn't be actioning it, or even trying it. We've got to try. Now, let's talk a little bit about those good days and those bad days and content. Okay. I
Sorry,
already
can I just
delved a
say
little
something
bit.
quickly before you say that? Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sure.
So I think one of the big things to remember is that You are a real person dealing with real people. And this is the one thing that you said to me, which I think changed everything, absolutely everything. People are not looking for perfection. They are not looking for you to be this perfect, whatever, high ascended master that incarnated into earth being and you know everything. You are a human being with a human life that, and people recognize within you that you have got something that might help them as well. So they come into you hoping that you might be able to help them. They don't expect you to be perfect. You know, there's a time back again because I'm
Exactly.
like growing dreadlocks at the moment. There is no way on this planet I would have come onto the video, wearing a taupe, wearing red earphones. I'm like, what are people going to think about me? And remember I don't know if you remember, you said to me, you are not there for those people. That is the one thing you said to me. And the other thing you said to me is that make sure that you are yourself, your authentic self, because it's wonderful to make promises and get clients and whatever. But you also want to be sure that you are able to deliver what you are promising in your messaging, be that directly or be that indirectly. In plain, simple terms, don't be a bullshitter. Really don't be, because you are always creating karma. And what kind of karma do you want to create for yourself?
Mm.
Just my 2 cents.
100%. And we also, as people, don't know everything.
Mm.
And it's fine to say, I don't know how to do that. Or could I perhaps refer you to another practitioner because, I don't know. It's okay. No one's perfect. No one. In actual fact, what Aiden was talking about, why drama sells so easily? A photo of some actress naked in a bathroom or, something like that. It's because when they're in a movie, they are portrayed in a certain light. Maybe they played the Virgin Queen or whatever. So people are seeing them as the Virgin Queen. Now, when they see them all in a unseemingly way online, they're going to buy into that because they want to see the other side of them.
Yeah.
But if you show who you
The
truly are,
real
there are no
side.
other sides to see.
Yeah.
Having so said, though, there's a point, and let's be honest about this. If the CEO of Pick and Pay or Woolworths came online and they were absolutely safe and they were sitting with a
Sorry, just
glass of
quickly
wine in
for
their
those of you that
hand,
don't know, Gesape is
okay?
when you are incredibly drunk. Like you're not tipsy,
Yes,
you're floored.
absolutely inebriated, intoxicated, and they were perhaps slapping someone around or whatever the case may be. You see, as people, we say that we shouldn't judge, but it's built into us.
Yeah.
Our subconscious is always going to judge
Mhm.
as much as we try to override it. And that's where the healing is so important.
Mm.
Let's use the Will Smith thing as an example. Okay? How many of you were for Will Smith and how many of you were against Will Smith? Because Will Smith stood for something online and then something happened. And then practitioners like us who understand and observe from a non judgmental space, we understand that there was something far greater than the slap.
Mm.
Okay? This is why you should always just be yourself. Just be who you
And
authentically
it's easy
are.
when you're
Okay?
yourself, it takes so much pressure off you. It's very
Yes.
difficult to try and be someone else. Really, I've tried it multiple times. It's a lot of work and it never
Mm.
works. Anyways, it's wasted
Yeah.
effort.
Going back to the intoxication thing. Just because you want to show the authentic side of yourself doesn't mean that you can sit with a glass of wine in your hand and hold a live class.
Mm.
Come on. That's not being authentic. Because what are you saying to your audience? That if you come to me for a tarot reading or you come to me for a spiritual hypnosis session, you know, I'm just going to be having a glass of wine while you're there, intoxicated, inebriated.
Yeah.
You're sending out messages, and just because you're sending out messages doesn't mean you don't have to be yourself. There's a limitation to vulnerability. Remember, I spoke about the balance being you. You are the balance. And I know this is sounding all very harsh, But this is what I do in my job. Whatever you're going through, I assist you. But the one thing I will always let you know is that perfectionism is never perfect. There is no
Well,
perfect in perfectionism.
I think it goes in line with what you actually said to me, because obviously, like anybody else who just started, I made a lot of mistakes, and occasionally I still do, because you will say to me, buddy this and buddy that, is that you
Mm,
will say to me, it's better for me to say it to you than the newspaper front page to say it, you know? So you have to
yeah.
also realize that you are responsible for your brand. Yes, you want to be yourself, but I think that goes in line with being responsible and ready for success. Because also, just because through all of this, you may sort of start to ask yourself, well, what do I really need social media for? And the analogy that I like to make with that, or let me back that up, is first of all, you have to realize the times that we're living in. We are not living 50 years
Mm,
ago. And even with the Loris Cannon thing that you said,
yeah.
if the Loris Cannon didn't travel as extensively as she traveled, she wouldn't have clients, she wouldn't have been known, she wouldn't have sold books. She did those small things where she was sitting in somebody's lounge all across America. And, there were maybe only 10 or 20 people. And maybe none of those people even bought anything. So it is a difficult thing to do sometimes. It's not always easy, but yes, and social media, and I think this is the thing that we don't sometimes get, because we live so much in the here and the now. It is way easier today to do things than it was 5 years ago. But you also don't want to waste your effort. You don't
Mm,
want to make so much content that you lose sleep and that you lose touch with your family and the things that are important to you, and the gatherings and whatever. But the analogy that I like to make with social media,
mm,
it's like if you're gonna have a restaurant, you need a building, or you need some sort of site or something. And if you want to grow and you want to reach those international clients in other states or other countries or the next town, or sell things online or whatever, if you don't have social media that works, that's effective,
mm.
very much setting yourself up for a
But
much
it
more difficult
can
time.
only be effective, sorry to stop you, Adrian, when you know your target audience.
Mm.
If your target audience is in Jamaica, okay, you're going to put yourself into the psychology of the daily life of Jamaicans. You're going to post before they go to work. You're going to post when they're on lunchtime. You're going to post in the evenings. It's essential for you to understand your target audience. That's not to say that you're taking your eyes off the messaging. I didn't mention the valid points about, again, about the Lourdes traveling and all of that. It's about an investment. It's about an investment of time. It's so much easier because remember, the Lourdes had to pay for those hotels, those conference rooms, the foods, whatever, the free books that were given away. It was all at her expense. Unless she had some sort of sponsor, I don't know. It's the same with social media. If you want social media to work, you got to either invest the time or you have to invest a little bit of money into it. It's your business at the end of the day.
You
And
can't just go
going
with
back to the
freebies. You
content
really
piece,
can't.
no, you
You
can't.
can't.
If you're going to go with the free approach, which is 100% fine, and it's what I do, organic marketing. I try to save you as much money as possible so that you don't have to pay for certain things.
Mm.
But there's certain operational systems that you will need to invest in. Okay. If you want to get a return, it's an investment. A business is your investment. And for organic marketing, your investment is time. But the time can be fun. You don't have to let it reach a stage of resistance. It can be fun. Going back to those good days and those bad days. Some days you're going to be in a really high vibration, you're going to be feeling good, and that's the moment to take your phone out and make those videos and save those videos.
Mm.
Post them in real time if you want to. Save them somewhere in the cloud, save them on your phone, on your PC. And so when you are looking for content and you're scheduling content, which is very possible for those who don't know, you can schedule content prior to release at certain dates and times as part of a larger
And there are
marketing
many free
strategy.
options for that as well.
Okay.
Excellent free options.
Very, very. A lot of the platforms have their own scheduling services which you can use. You don't always, and there's other free. And maybe Adrian and I will have more of these talks where I'll give you. This is just in general. And we hope we didn't rattle you too much because I know we both just speak our truths, but that's from our experience, and we really do want to help you. So when it comes to content, like I was saying, you're going to invest in yourself. If you know you're not great at doing graphics or talking about graphics and branding, I have helped businesses who've been going for a few years, and all it took was a change in a look. That's all. A
Simple
different
change.
color, a different font. And like when I started getting serious about my image, you can ask Aiden, within the first week, I had CRM companies. There was barely any content on there contacting me to be affiliate marketers for them.
Mm.
And that was purely by a look. I do that over and over again. Now, this is the thing. You can go one of two ways. But what's most important is don't let anything stop you. Please don't let anything stop you.
I mean,
Don't.
all the successes in the world, all of them, the Walt Disneys, the Amazon dude, what's his name? Jeff Bezos, am I right? I never
Mm,
know these things.
mm.
I
Jeff
mean, he
Bezos,
started,
yeah.
Jeff started, for those of you that may not know, and if you do know,
Mm,
it's a very good reminder. Jeff had nothing. He started selling secondhand books from his parents' garage. And I mean, there's many stories like that. The KFC dude, the colonel, he was like, what, in his 70s when he started that business.
mm.
It's never too late for you. Louise Hay, who was the founder of probably the biggest sort of spiritual, what do you call them, distributor, marketer, whatever
Yeah.
provider in the world, Hay House. She was 60 plus when she started the business. And again, she started with the basics. And I think it all comes down to something that Oprah Winfrey was probably one of the most successful people in the world that everybody knows about. So it comes down to finding a way to serve. I can tell you for a fact, in my own experience, and I've worked with many, many, many people before, that when you are selfish, when you try to exploit people, when you just all about that self gain and whatever, you're not going to make it. I promise you, you're not going to make it. You'll make lots of money and you may lose that money again. But when you can find a way to be of service, and being of service doesn't mean that you give everything away for free or for next to nothing. But when you can find a way to be of service, to help the collective consciousness of the world, whether you become a life coach, a spiritual teacher, a tarot reader, somebody who opens a mechanical shop, whatever, you will be successful. The two literally go together hand in hand. And this is why I love the way that Alandra operates. Because remember, back in the, I had no confidence. And I would say, remember when you said to me, I think that you need to go on YouTube now with your weekly, sort of like, your weekly zodiac readings. I was like, there's
We did it in
thousands of
stages.
people. We did it in stages because I
Mm.
didn't have the confidence to do it. But yet there are thousands of people online who do the same thing, but none of them are you. And I think let's wrap this up. I'm going to put all the links below for how people can
Yeah.
contact you.
Can
But
I just say
yeah,
something
of course.
before you wrap up?
Okay.
Because you mentioned a very valuable
Mhm.
point. And this is going to may or may not come across as very harsh.
Anything you ever said to me was valuable. So,
If you are not at the place to put yourself on social media,
mm,
it keeps coming back to the same thing, your self worthiness,
yeah,
your self love, and who you are. Because people are always going to judge you.
mm,
Are you going to allow those people to judge you? Or are you going to keep doing what fills your heart with joy?
yeah,
So procrastination and all of that and not getting your content out and not wanting to sell yourself, it all comes back to limiting beliefs. You don't believe that you're worthy enough, and you don't believe you will be abundant, or that you're at the level to receive that sort of financial abundance. And abundance is so much more than money. We all know that.
yes.
But yes, it's been a really good show. Please don't let anything hold you back. Rather put the content out, and as you're putting it out, you will learn and develop from there.
And if you
So
don't feel
that's
ready
what
to
it's
show
all
your
about.
face yet, which I wasn't, and a
That's
lot of
fine.
people are here for the message. We live in a day where you can get all these apps to make videos. So, yes, you want to challenge yourself, but you also don't want to push yourself straight down into a nervous breakdown. That's not what you want to do either. So, but I think let's really tell people how it is that you can help them, because I mean, I can sit here and talk forever and ever and ever, and
Oh,
obviously.
yes. You see, I even forgot to sell myself because that's what I'm all about.
But here's the
Okay.
thing, I think
So,
that when you are just yourself, because I take it from me, and just very quickly, I felt that I should be this proper person. And I remember one of the things that people said back in the day, or what I said back in the day, if I show myself, what will people think and say? And somebody might maybe mention something about my big nose and something like that. 3 years down the line, nobody said anything about my nose just yet. I just had some issues with it, which I don't anymore. You'll never see me going for rhinoplasty. Not for me. Obviously got nothing. Um, I suppose I should say this. I've got nothing. And honestly, I don't care what you do with yourself. It's your life. It's your choices. No judgment. Your life is your life. Um, but I think the thing that we're really trying to drive across to you is that people often feel that they have to sacrifice a part of themselves in order to get what we call success. It's almost that sort of thing. Do you marry for money or for love? Why can't you marry for both? Just because you are successful doesn't mean that you have to suffer in your own personal capacity. And I think that's really the important thing. So let's really now stop holding out and just really tell people like how it is that you can support them, because honestly, I tell you this from personal experience. I am very glad. I feel very blessed. I feel divinely blessed, in fact, that I have someone like you that have been able to support me from the very start. There were some others as well. I will bring those across to you as well, those people. But had I mean, I worked very hard to get to where I am, and I still work very hard. But
100%.
but it is pointless to work hard when you don't have sort of like that clear direction. So I feel very blessed that you were able to give me that direction, and that you would still call me out and say to me, rather do it like this, or maybe you want to consider that, because we don't all know everything. I suck at IT. I really suck at IT. I used to really suck at graphic design, and I'm not really brilliant at the moment, but because of the guidance that you gave me, these fonts, these colors, these things, that thing, try this, try that, boom, 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 boom. Because I think we all forget something very, very important when it comes to social media. It comes back to those 2 hours and 27 minutes that an average person spends online. They scroll through everything. They go from platform to platform. So you only have that snippet to catch them. And if
Well,
you,
let's just tell people that only 2% of your followers
mm,
see your content.
mm,
So if you're gonna, and this is the reason why you can repurpose content, because trust me, if you think that every single one of your 100 million people is seeing your post, only 2% are. Okay. And this is the reason why consistency is so important and investing time is so important. But at the same time, you don't want to put that pressure and strain with yourself. You want to make it part of your daily life, your daily practice. You want to do it with joy and in a lovely vibrational frequency when you're doing it so that it doesn't become a resistance.
and that
Yes.
2% that sees your content may not be interested at that time. They may be busy. They may not need it. So the pool that you reach is actually really, really small. So I think let's end off by telling people how you can help the person who needs what you have, to make that link between saying, this is nice, to actually taking that action of not even buying, but at least sending that email, at least clicking that read more or next video or whatever. Because what
Sure.
I find in my regression hypnosis, for example, I will say to people, when did you decide to have the session with me? And people will say to me, well, I've been watching you for 2 years and I've been thinking about that. Like really, I get it a lot. They don't just see it and say, oh, this dude looks
Yeah.
awesome, let's try him. No, because it's a
Mm.
personal thing.
Yeah. I have to say, guys, that maybe it's just because I believe in myself so much, but I've never really had to do sales all these years. Is somehow or the other, like I said, when the teacher's ready, the students will come. People find me anyway. But I would like to offer my services to you should you be interested. And I think the first point is to actually start by following my Facebook page, because then you can see the type of content that's on there. It's AHEM, AEEM, social at gmail.com. Adrian will put it below. That will give you an inkling into what sort of information I offer you. And then my email address is on there. I am social at gmail.com. Sorry, when I said Facebook, I was giving you the Gmail page, but what I actually meant is it's I am social. You can just search for me on Facebook. Adrian will put the links below. And so let me just explain to you how I operate. I offer bespoke services, which means that I work with you within your resonance. And we will utilize what you would like to do and what you wouldn't like to do. And then we develop a strategy from there. I particularly try to focus on organic marketing because I don't do Facebook ads and so forth, but I can lead you to people who can do that sort of thing. So I'm all about organic marketing, trying to save you as much money because you're going to be
You
paying me
won't
for
need to
it.
take out a second mortgage
Okay.
on your house.
So, you know, yeah, now I was about to compare my
Sorry.
prices to other things, but let's not do that. If you resonate with me and you would even just like an advice call, I do that as well. I do a free 60-minute advice call. Um, Now, I am very busy. Please, and I don't mean that from a bad perspective, but for, those free calls, you must at least have some form of seriousness in buying my service. Because if I see that you're not serious, I will kind of, lure the conversation short. It's about those who are serious.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, I do the same thing, especially I think what I do probably most is tarot readings. And I'm very clear about what I put forth. And if you're going to come to me because you get people that do that, they would want to pay me more money to tell me what they want to hear from me. I'm going to offer you a
Mm.
refund. I'm going to be like, this is not my vibe.
No,
And
no.
allow us in the same way because it comes back to ethics. It is about operating in a way that is moral and respectful towards the other person and towards yourself. Because I think something really big to finish off with, first of all, you can't go for everybody. It's never going to work. I tried it several times, it's not going to work. You can't go for everybody. And secondly, when you try to just be this, should I call it a scabanger person? No, but when
I
you,
don't know if the overseas audience will understand
what is a
Skabengo,
scabanger? Scabanger is like a
but
chancer. Like you sell people all these
yeah.
promises. And I mean, even with me, I'm an online coach. I'll put some links for my courses down below. And I'll put some things for Alandra down below as well. But, when you do something, that is sort of like the biggest lesson because at some point, Alandra's got this very big client, this big international client that she works for. And at some point, I was on board with that as well. Wasn't doing all that great, but I was there. But this is the thing that she said to me. I just one day I designed some stuff and I sent it to her and she said to me, if you look at this online, will you click on this? And I was very upset. I felt so offended. How dare you say this to me? But when I really thought about it, and I think this is out of like the biggest things that we want to go across. If you come across your own content, will you buy into it? If the answer is yes, by all means. If the answer is no, it might be time to open yourself to some resources because nobody reaches success or, very importantly, maintains success without support of others. We don't all know everything. We don't. Just how it is.
And lastly, if you did enjoy this content, I know we've rattled on for quite long because it was our first one and we wanted to talk about various different things. So we cover various topics. But if you do like this content, then we can start doing more of these in a more structured topic form.
Mm.
Um, so ask questions in the comments. Um, Contact Aiden or myself to ask questions, and we'll try to do more of these videos in a shorter capacity.
Yes, in a much
Okay.
shorter capacity. But maybe I should add one more. Let me just add one more. So, um, you know, a lot of times people say to me, I remember back in the day, I used to be a professional photographer, and you spend a lot of, I haven't had a single client yet, spend a lot of money on equipment and websites and whatever. And then you have this idea, for example, just bringing it down to an email address, Adrian at something .com. You know, so we've got this idea. First of all, you must have a .com because it's an American thing. People have respect for you, and you
Or
must
website,
or a
or
website.
logo.
And a lot of money on a website, which was the biggest waste of money ever. And you know, that's something which is like an established brand. Like I don't know whichever service provider. But here's the thing that Alandra said to me that really moved my mind. Gmail is probably never going to go away. I've had so many troubles with service providers, and they either go out of business or you can't afford to do like the what do you call the thing where you like sort of buy into it again? You know, you can't renew the subscription or whatever. Gmail is free and it's probably going to go nowhere. And if people need your help, they're not going to be that concerned about the fact that your email is at gmail.com. They're really not going to be. So that's what we got. Any closing thing that you might like to say?
No, I'm very good. I was just pleased to be able to do this talk. I don't get a lot of time to do them, but if you are interested, we will do more of them.
Okay.
Sure.
And even if you look at our stuff, you will see that our stuff is very different from one another. Because this is the great thing that Alondra is going to help you with. She's going to say, this is what you can go with, this is what's going to work for you, but she's going to help you to understand how to find your own voice so that you can do it for yourself. Just because your things are being designed for you today and for the next year doesn't mean 5 years down the line it still has to be as well. If you want it to be done, by all means, by her or by someone else, but you would also be able to start doing things yourself. And it's about empowerment of others. And I feel that's the most important thing of everything.
Yes. I do done for you services, but I do prefer to empower you to be able to help it to be sustainable by doing it yourself. Otherwise, you're going to go from person to person to person to person. And even if you do end up making a lot of money and hiring a social media agency, knowing what you know, you will be able to control it better,
Yes.
instead of allowing somebody else to control it for you. But I do done for you services. I do graphic packages, I
Very
do
good ones, by the
logos,
way.
I do social media graphics. Um, I'm in the process of putting packages together specifically for spirited conscious business light workers, which I hope to have available as soon as possible. But if you're following my page, you'll be able to see that, and then you will have like probably 6 months worth of content from those graphics.
And that is whether you
So,
want to open a
yeah.
tarot business, a homeopath business, whatever, a yoga business, or maybe you want to open a drive-through restaurant. It will work for either way because it also comes from how you operate your business. Okay.
Yes.
I think that's it.
Okay, guys, I think we really overdid it,
I gotta
but
go.
love and light to all of you, and loads of love.
Oh, I learned this yesterday. Apparently, maybe I'm wrong, but apparently in sign language, this means love. So, love.
Okay.
Never knew that.
Awesome.
Ciao, everybody.
Awesome.
We look
Take
forward to
care,
hearing from
everyone.
you. Bye.
Bye.